I went through all my savings, helping out you know who, so I'm pretty much, I wouldn't say broke, but just getting by. So it's been really hard to make ends meet. Was this payback? Like, was this revenge? This is his way of revenge? You used me? You brought me on TV? It wasn't to, like, you know, come out of it like a strong couple. It was like, you did it to humiliate me.
Things have got really bad for Nikki. From serious money problems to homelessness, fraud, prostitution and arrests, her story is wild. So how did it get to this? Well, as you no doubt recall, the last we saw Nikki and Igor, or Justin as she randomly renamed him, the pair had broken off their engagement. I mean, it was inevitable, wasn't it? Igor was pretty darn clear that he wasn't attracted to trans people. That despite the fact that Nikki kept on heaping on the pressure for him to sleep with her because, well, she felt like she deserved it given all the money that she'd spent on him.
And sometimes she's pushing too much. Like, I want sex.
It was all very toxic and super uncomfortable to watch. So you won't be surprised to hear that they are still broken up. But here's the thing. Even before 90 Day Fiancé, right, Nikki has always made it her mission to try and become famous. Over the years, she's appeared on numerous TV shows, including Orange is the New Black, Jerseylicious, and Botched back in 2014. Well, kind of. Let me explain. Now, Botched, in case you're not familiar with the show, involves surgeons trying to remedy extreme plastic surgeries that have gone wrong. But, interestingly, Nikki's time on the show was cut, despite the fact that surgeons did successfully fix Nikki's botched breast implants. So why didn't she make the final cut? Why wasn't she on the show? Well, because of how much of a diva and how demanding she was apparently acting on set. Yeah, sound familiar?
Really? Really?
Of course.
I don't have a napkin. I don't have a napkin.
I give it to you.
No, I don't. Just lick it.
Now get this, when the episode aired without her, Nikki claimed that the show made her homeless because as a result of her surgery, she apparently wasn't able to work for 2 months and that meant she couldn't afford her rent. Now, I'm not really sure that not being able to work after being given free surgery was somehow the producer's problem. Like, how she didn't account for this before going on the show baffles me, but it does give us a clue about the lengths that she'll go to try and make a quick buck or try and get a payout. Now, I'll come back to that shortly, but it's also worth pointing out here that it's not just Botched that has cut her out from the show. 90 Day producers seem to have done exactly the same thing too. You see, despite Nikki announcing loudly and proudly on her social media that she's going to be featuring on the recent season of 90 Day Diaries, that show came and went without any sign of her. Ouch.
I don't understand. I don't understand. Okay, I can be a bitch sometimes. For you to just act like dispose of me like I'm nothing.
So going back to Nikki's attempts to get a payoff from Botched for supposedly making her homeless, let's just say that she does have a track record of, how should I put this, unscrupulous ways of making money. Nikki Exotika, real name Nicole Sanders, was arrested all the way back in 2005 for prostitution, according to Cook County Court records, and she was charged with a Class A misdemeanor as reported by Word on the Street Reality. And sure, yeah, while that was nearly 20 years ago, even to this day, there are still a lot of rumours that she's still actively working in that field. In fact, there's profiles on multiple escort sites that look very much like her, albeit operating under the alias of Monica. And what's more, at the time of recording this video, this profile in particular still seems to be active. Now, of course, I've got to point out the counter argument to this could be that this isn't her and it's just been set up by a troll online. And while that may be the case, who knows, maybe, but one thing we know for absolutely certain is that Nicole does have a history of trouble with the law. You see, not that long ago, back in 2023, Nicole was once again arrested after allegedly receiving $70,000 worth of fraudulent benefits. She was taken into custody by Hudson County on the 25th of July 2023 and charged with failing to report income between 2017 to 2021 in order to unlawfully receive tens of thousands of dollars of medical benefits. Like, to steal Medicaid funds from people who genuinely need it is so morally bankrupt that it's disgusting. But what all of these arrests prove is that throughout Nikki's life, she's seemingly always struggled with her finances and always been willing to do whatever it takes in order to make a buck. I mean, it's funny, isn't it? She calls herself the $1 Million Barbie, having apparently spent $1 million on cosmetic procedures. A quick Google search of her shows multiple sites reporting that her net worth apparently sits at anywhere from $1 million to just under $4 million. And yet that couldn't be further from the truth, as she herself admits on IG just a few days ago.
People think I'm well off and I'm so wealthy, but I'm not. So it's been really hard to make ends meet.
Now, she does give a lot of mixed messages about just how dire her financial situation really is. Like, in some interviews, she says that she's in debt, whereas in others, she says that she isn't broke. But one thing does remain consistent throughout all of her interviews. Nikki doesn't take accountability for her own situation. Instead, she likes to blame it all on Igor.
I went through all my savings, helping out you know who, so I'm pretty much, I wouldn't say broke, but just getting by.
You know, he said to me, he's like, you know, I was giving this man vibes, this masculine energy, right? But Jake, how can I be in my feminine energy when I'm paying for everything, getting out of the debt that Igor had pretty much put me into because we had a lot of things coming out.
Now, that last part, we had a lot of things coming out part, is quite interesting. Nikki claims that she and Igor apparently had a number of projects lined up for after the show that she was banking on to recoup the money that she'd been spending on him. But, of course, after he split up with her, all of those projects got cancelled and that left her with no way of making that money back. Now, things have got so bad that back in January, Nikki was practically begging for fans to send her money as a birthday gift. Like, it's not what you expect, is it? I'm struggling to even make ends meet every month, paying rent and bills on my own, she complained, especially after helping someone financially for about 2 years. So, I've tagged my Cash App and PayPal. I mean, it seems a little bit desperate, but get this, she's also now resorted to trying to find herself a roommate.
Just getting a roommate, that's, you know, the struggle's real, so I'm getting a roommate so I can afford, you know, my bills and stuff like that. I know I live a lavish, you know, luxurious lifestyle. Oh, I have a BMW and oh, I have a nice apartment. And it's hard in this world, you know, especially in this economy. So, yeah, that's why I'm on OnlyFans.
Again, look how bad she is with her money. Like, it's difficult to feel sorry for her when, on the one hand, she's crying about being broke, yet on the other hand, she's still living a luxurious life in her fancy apartment with her fancy car. I mean, all that money she's spent on cosmetic surgery over the years, and now she's having to practically beg for money or pimp herself out. Virtually pimp herself out. Like, just look at the digital virtual services that she offers. Whether it's $16 a month for her OnlyFans or $50 for her to leave a comment on your page, it all paints a very desperate, bleak picture. Now, speaking of her OnlyFans, Nikki promises that her subscribers can, quote, see the secrets that lie behind closed doors. But do those secrets include a potential new mystery boyfriend? Because Nikki has been sneakily posting about a man on her Instagram. This seemingly age-appropriate man covered in tattoos has appeared in several of her stories, but for the time being at least, there's no word on whether he's a boyfriend or maybe he's just a scene partner for her spicy OnlyFans content. Now, back in March 2025, Nikki posted about having, quote, the best immigration attorney. And naturally, naturally, that left everyone very curious. What does she need an immigration attorney for? Surely all those visa issues with Igor are long gone, right? Could that perhaps be a clue that another foreign man might be on the horizon? Perhaps this mystery tattooed man, or maybe a woman, because Nikki has come out as being bisexual. But either way, one thing's for sure, it's definitely not Igor that she needs this immigration attorney for. You see, she's been very, very clear that she no longer wants to be asked about Igor. She feels like their relationship is a curse that she can't escape.
People keep asking me if I'm still together with my ex. It's so annoying. It's like a curse. Like, it's gonna keep continuing until somebody sees me on TV with a new guy, and then they can stop asking about Igor.
Now, the thing is, for someone who feels like she's cursed, Nikki sure does love to talk about it. Back in December 2024, Nikki showed her cards when she uploaded a video calling out trans girls that she knows who she claims have apparently been hitting on Igor on his Instagram.
I noticed some trans girls that say hi and so sweet to me, but they're like thirsting over Igor's photos, so thirsty.
Now, one look at Igor's IG and you can see that there are a lot of people who are thirsting over him. But the question is, how does Nikki know that if she's not also there watching? Like, that's clearly the hallmark of someone who's lurking over their ex's profile, isn't it? It's a bit hypocritical when she's over here telling fans to stop asking her about Igor, but then she goes on interviews like this one with Jake Maddock, talking about her relationship. Like, make it make sense. Now, the thing is, this particular interview is quite interesting. Some of the tea that Nikki spills is piping hot.
He wrote me a contract to basically put up and shut up and stay with him. He'll be my TV husband. He'll stay with me, but he wants to screw other bitches.
Sorry, what? Like, why didn't she bring this up on the tell-all? If, and it's a massive if this is true, then Igor really does value himself very highly, doesn't he? He gets a green card, he gets financial support, and he gets to sleep with other people that he finds attractive. But what does she get? Like, what's in it for her other than arm candy, other than having a young man as a husband? It hardly seems like a fair exchange.
I gotta take care of you for 10 years or more. And you're going to sleep in my bed. You're going to complain that you don't get what you want. I got to do your laundry, cook, clean, all of it. Absolutely not.
Yeah, Nikki is still extremely bitter about how this all went down. She really has it in for Igor. In fact, she goes as far as to call him a narcissist and claims that he only went on the show to humiliate her. Her working theory that she shares with this interviewer is apparently she thinks the only reason that Igor went on the show is to seek revenge for the fact that she didn't tell him she was trans when they first dated.
Was this revenge? This is his way of revenge? You used me? You brought me on TV? It wasn't to come out of it like a strong couple. It was like, you did it to humiliate me.
Sure, it's not nice, but Nikki, then again, neither is lying about being trans for years to a younger guy that trusted you. Don't forget, Igor was only 19 years old when Nikki first met him, when she pursued him, right? And she was in her early 30s. That's quite the age difference, and she definitely should have been old enough to know that it's wrong to hide that she was born a man. Now, on the topic of younger guys, Nikki just can't seem to stay away from them. Even after the nightmare of her relationship with Igor, she's still eager to date younger.
I love a younger guy. I know people can say like, oh,
how much younger though?
15. I think I would push it 15 years, a difference.
Now, get this, there's also a weird twist here. You see, Nikki has faced a lot of criticism for showcasing this weird, bizarre mother-son relationship, as she calls it. This young man, Jasper, doesn't seem to be biologically related to Nikki, but she refers to him as her son. He refers to her as his mother. So the newspaper The Sun reported that Nikki had apparently adopted 3 gay sons. Now what's kind of unclear about this is whether they're referring to this adoption in the legal sense of the term, or whether, as one Reddit user points out, whether it's just a term that's used in the LGBTQ community when an older person takes a younger queer adult under their wing. Whatever the case, the whole nature of this relationship has definitely ruffled some feathers. Like, to some, this gives grooming energy, especially considering the age gap and also how Nikki gravitates towards younger men. So why does she constantly surround herself with younger guys? Well, maybe it's because she's mentally the same age as them. She refuses to grow up. Take her music career, for example. Now, while on the show she may have made this big song and dance about being a musician, please excuse the pun, but the truth is, her music career isn't particularly successful. She's been trying for decades now to crack the industry. In fact, her first band, Secret Girls, was formed back in 2006, but the band keeps separating. They had an 8-year hiatus. She keeps swapping members in and out after creative differences and fallings out, and the last song they released, even after all this primetime exposure on TV and even after her social media following, only managed to rack up 700 views on YouTube. The channel itself has less than 1,500 subscribers, but despite that, Nikki flat out refuses to give up on her dreams.
My music career is very expensive. I just had such a really sweet angel, a person, a woman who pretty much just invested into my music.
Yeah, so once again, she's resorted to begging for money from fans, and whether that lady is a sweet angel or a naive, gullible person remains to be seen. Who knows, Nikki might go on to prove us all wrong. Maybe she will become an international superstar. Perhaps she and Usman can do a cameo together. Like, Nikki isn't giving up hope. In fact, she refuses to listen to anyone who's critical of her music.
And I can't sing, and I suck, and it really hurts my back.
Yo, I really don't care what you guys think.
FYI, Nikki posted this to her Instagram on the 24th of December. Yeah, that's right. She spent Christmas Eve fighting with people on the internet about her singing. It's tragic. She's promised that she will be dropping a solo single called So Narcissistic very soon. And given that she's been describing Igor as a narcissist in her interviews, I'm willing to bet that the single is going to be all about him. But it does feel like the pot's calling the kettle black here, doesn't it? If anyone's a narcissist, it's her. So, while it's safe to say that Nikki's life may have been a whirlwind of chaos, what's Igor been up to since the show ended? Well, funnily enough, he's a lot more reserved. Now, on IG, curiously enough, he still goes by the IG handle Justin Moldova, which leads to the question, why is he still using that name Justin, given that it's something that Nikki made up for him? Well, in answer to that, he claims it's not Justin, it's just in Moldova. But something tells me he wanted to include that name just to ensure that he can still be found by fans of the show searching for Justin 90 Day Fiancé. Now, as for his content, he doesn't really post that frequently, and when he does, it's normally some kind of positive message. Things like, don't forget to be happy. A day without laughter is a day wasted. And he also enjoys sharing his particular sense of humour with his followers, most of whom really adore him. Like, he often asks whether or not he'll ever appear on the show again, whether he might appear on The Single Life, for example. But to that, his answer is no, because apparently producers only focus on American cast. But that being said, it's not all sunshine and rainbows on Igor's IG. Not all of the comments are so friendly. There are definitely a few Nikki fans who want to hold Igor accountable for all the shitty things he did with her, like breaking up with her over a text message. In response to the criticism around that, in particular the criticism that he may have used ChatGPT to write the breakup text, Igor responded with a freaking essay about how he did use ChatGPT, but only to translate his emotions and his words. He claims the emotion, the sentiment was his, but the wording was ChatGPT's. And he also took a swipe at show producers, claiming that they didn't show his full message. They made it look worse than it really was. Now, in response to this, even though he went on to say, if my response garners 100 likes, I'll publish the full letter. In other words, he'll publish the full full text message that he sent Nikki. Spoiler alert, he never did publish it. Now, Igor was also caught up in another scandal when he posted but then promptly deleted a video showing him wearing a Nazi uniform. He claimed it was just a Halloween costume, it was all just fun, but of course once the backlash started rolling in when fans started questioning him, the video got deleted and thankfully he does actually seem to regret that choice. Either way, Igor seems to be doing okay, his life is going on without Nikki, he doesn't need her to support him financially. And the truth is, he seems to be losing a lot less sleep over her than she has been over him.